and see what your body actually can do. Everybody wants to short it, but they don't know what your actual, like, you actually lock in and dedicate yourself and you commit to yourself, success is right there, bro. Everybody gets this close to success and then they turn around.
It can get so hard to wanna wake up some days. Wish you stayed asleep, cause it's too much to face. Like the loop repeats, and it's just another day. Rather have the most peaceful way to float away.
What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the ShiftEQ podcast with Alan Kay. I am joined today by yet another special guest. He is the founder and owner of Nonstop Fitness and Nutrition LLC. Recently is recognized as the OCB Coach of the Year. OCB, for you guys, is the federation, the natural federation that I compete in. And his work with being able to transform people into their dream physiques and dream bodies is one of the biggest reasons of why I decided to work with Coach. What's going on, Coach? Thank you for joining me this morning, man. How was your Thanksgiving? How's everything?
What's going on, brother? What's going on? First off, I want to say, appreciate you letting me be on here, tell a little bit of my story. And then obviously appreciate you as an athlete as well,
Yeah.
But Thanksgiving was great, man. Actually, it was really chill. A lot of my mom and my dad, my sister actually went to Atlanta. For my uncle, he just bought some big house and was like, I want all my brothers and all their families to come in. Unfortunately, obviously, we do the Beast Before You Feast workout, which is like our Thanksgiving morning workout at the gym. And then we're expanding the gym. So it was like, I couldn't miss that, So I was just home, with my girl, the kids, and just kind of relaxing. It was really small for us. One of my friends came through. It was really chill though, but it was good. I actually enjoyed that. That I got to chill, so I was fine with that.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And what I really do enjoy about working with you, and in the short time I've already worked with, is you emphasize that beast before you feast.
Yep.
And you're all about team. You're all about pushing a good culture and a good narrative. And ever since I've joined, even being part of the WhatsApp chats is makes me feel like I'm already a better person and more invested into my fitness journey.
That's awesome.
Now for you, I love this because you just opened up a brand new gym, right?
Yeah,
or you just renovated your gym.
Well, so actually, it's actually next door to my gym. So what we're doing is my gym is about 6,500 square feet. The gym next door we bought was a salon and spa, and that's 10,000 square feet. So we just literally have been like walking that next door and like renovating for about 5 months. And we're going to break down the wall eventually. And that's why we had like a soft opening, because the wall's not broken down yet. Township's like taking their time and whatever. So permits and all that good stuff. So we renovated it, we're opening it. So now people will have access to both sides. So one's like turf, pin loaded machines, things like that. The other side's like heavy weights, racks, plate loaded machines right now, sauna, spa, like all that stuff. So yeah, man. So we're gonna put it all together. So we just opened that yesterday, actually.
Gotcha. Well, that's pretty awesome. Sounds like you're going through a pretty huge change and a lot of
That's for sure.
great things about being recognized for, like, Coach of the Year, which I think is a phenomenal thing.
Appreciate it.
Definitely for me, what I love, what I preach most about this on this channel is if you have any kind of fitness goal, regardless of where you're at, to hire a coach, someone who knows exactly what they're doing and you learn from it.
Yeah.
I got to ask you, now that you're into this, 12 plus years as a trainer, doing this brand new gym, has this been the vision all along for you, like to be Coach of the Year, brand new gym? Like, can you go into what that really means for you?
So it means a lot, man. So I actually knew I was getting it a couple months ago. The head of the OCB kind of like reached out to me and was just like, I want to let you know I'm nominating you for Coach of the Year. And I was like, oh, like that's nice. Like, appreciate it. Thank you. Didn't, but like every couple months she would remind me like, hey, I need you at this show because I'm nominating you for Coach of the Year. Like, I'm letting you know. So, and then she would just see me at a lot more shows, and she's like, wow, like, this is really something. And she would just like remind me and let me know. And, but the vision was always literally just to help people have a gym, own a gym, and then just be able to like watch that baby and like watch people change lives, things like that. So it's like, I had to do that. But when you fall in love with fitness, right, we see a few things, and it's you see like the regular, I call it the regular bodybuilding split when you first start to work out, right? If you play sports, whether it's, high school, middle school, all that, that's like, you're told what to do, right? So it's like, we have upper this day, we have lower this day, we have like football, that's how it was, or we got conditioning this day. And that was a program. When we got older and then when fitness became a choice, right? It was like, okay, how do I split up my days? So you probably like Google something and they say like back and buys, chest and tries, blah, blah. Like those are bodybuilding splits, right? So when you fall in love, so when I started like Googling, started looking, and I was like, wow, I found bodybuilding. And I was just like, ooh, like I like this. Now, do I really think that I'm going to look like the monstrous Mr. Olympias and all that stuff? No, but I love the lifestyle that it does. Like it's the one thing is like you get out like what you put in, right? You can't cheat it. Like it's not a 1 hour and you're done. It's a 24-hour like sport, So it's like you mess up. Like there's nobody else. You can't blame on anybody else. Nobody put food in your mouth. Nobody told you to take that shot of alcohol. Like it is what it is. So it's like I fell in love with that. So I knew what I wanted to do. And I was like, okay, I like bodybuilding, but like they say, you have to do what you have to do until you can do what you want to do. So it was like, I like bodybuilding, but it was like, how was I going to get to body? Like I'm nobody. Why do people want to coach with me? So I was just like, I'm just going to start training everybody. I got to train everybody. I just want to get people healthy. And it's like transformation, like help people. Put people before the money all day. And then I got that one opportunity where I actually had an opportunity to train one girl, and she actually backed out like twice. And then I found somebody else, and she came to me and was like, this is what I want to do. I was like, sure. Like I got excited, and then there was another one. And then the person that was working out with at the same time in the gym as this one was like, damn, well, we've been working out side by side together. Like, why can't I do that? And then it just started going and going and going. So it was like, I knew what I wanted to do because I had somebody who changed my life through fitness in high school that would always just teach me like, this is like what you can overcome. Like if I let you fail in this gym, then you're going to fail out there in those streets. Right. And he's like, he would change the mindset of the people. And it was all about, and when you're in high school, people were like, oh, that's stupid. Like, why are you always talking that? And I'm like, to me, I'm like, nah, this makes sense. Like, oh, you deadlifted 500 pounds and you failed at it. Get up and do it again. Like, you can't be a failure. You gotta, so stuff like that. So I followed that and I just took it and I ran with it, so.
Man, yeah. Yeah, I appreciate that. And what I love about this is that you're emphasizing what I feel is the most important part of this entire fitness thing, which is the journey of it. You might fail deadlifting 500 pounds, but like you just said, get up there and do it. Now, obviously, don't deadlift 500 pounds right after this episode, guys. Don't do that. That's an example. But I definitely enjoy the fact that you emphasize that, because what I feel right now in the fitness industry, we have a problem with is you need to go on this calorie surplus, go on this calorie deficit, no carb this, and it's just, you're constantly putting temporary patches on what is actually a permanent problem. And for you, when clients come up to you, when they ask you, hey, I want to do this, like, what are some of the things that you look at for people to improve that they otherwise probably wouldn't look at to begin with?
Habits, stress. A lot of things like stress isn't a feeling, right? So everybody doesn't feel stress, but people don't understand there's different type of stressors, right? So being in a calorie deficit, that's a stressor. Doing cardio, stressor. Working out, stressor. Getting in a sauna, stressor. Being on this podcast and being behind a phone every day, stressor, right? Being on a computer, stressor. Me sitting in this chair all day long, stress. Like these are things that stress our body and that take it to a different state, and we don't realize how much it is because we're used to it and we normalize it, right? So, just being bloated all the time, like people normalize it, but it's not okay. Like, so if you're putting your body through a lot of bloat and a lot of bad digestion and gut health, that's stressing the body out, right? So like all these things are different things that we normalize that we don't really realize are stress and problems that we might be having that are starting internally or that, are in our everyday life that we are realizing that we have no control of. So it's like, how can we control these things? How can we control these small things? In return, if I can relieve somebody's stress, not at work, but maybe at home, or how they relate to it or how they figure it out, then they might get rid of all the gut problems. Their weight might start dropping. There are things like that because they don't realize how much they're holding on to it. So those are things, like, important things. I'll be like, what's going on? Like, every once in a while, like, I'll just have something. I'll be like, yo, like, okay, cool. Like, yes, you're answering my questions, but, like, are you really answering my questions? Like, let me know. If you just give me a 1 to how's your stress, 1 to 10, 1, you don't know what stress is then, because it's impossible that it's a 1 every time. So it's like you're in denial. Mm-hmm. So get in tune with yourself and try to figure out what is going on with my body. How do I really feel? I can tell myself I feel fine, but how do I really feel? Like be real. And I think that's the big thing about the journey, is you learn a lot about yourself. And that's no matter if you start, you stop, you start, you start. If you keep starting and stopping, you just learn about yourself right there. You have no commitment. You know what I mean? So it's like things like that, things like that, you got to figure out. It's like, what is it about yourself that you can learn about in this process? And I think that's one of the most important things when it comes to, like, fitness, bodybuilding, anything. It's just learning about yourself and, like, being realistic with yourself. Like, well, these are my goals. Are they realistic or not? And am I willing to work towards these or not? No matter how long it takes or no matter how short it is. Can I work towards this? You just talked about people doing, like, short things. Everybody wants to go, oh, right, has to go here. Now, mind you, I'm a 0 to 100 person, so I understand. I understand this.
You are.
I am. I'm super 0 to 100. But I don't expect, like, quick, easy fixes. And that's the problem, that people are used to, like, the superficial and, oh, if I go keto, I'm going to drop 40 pounds. Like, they're used to that. I don't believe in that. You know what I mean? I might be 0 to 100, or, like, you're either working or not. Like, straight up. There's no, like, in between. I'm kind of doing this. Like, it's just, like, there's no easy way to do it. And that's where the problem lies, is that, like, we think there's an easy way. I lose people all the time, bro, because they're not going fast enough. And I'm just like, okay, sure, like, no problem. Like, my job is to get you there as healthy as possible. If that's not the route you want to take and you want to go lose 30 pounds in 30 days, no problem. Like, I could do that too, but then I'd be bashed as the coach who's starving people, right? So that's not who I am. So, yeah, man.
I think that's really important there, what we're emphasizing, which is letting go of expectation and just honing into their journey. I feel like, for example, a lot of people that I've worked with in the past, they talk about, hey, I want to lose 30 pounds in 30 days or whatever, kind of what you just said. One of the things I always ask them is, like, is it really the 30 pounds that you want to lose, or is it the lifestyle, the confidence, and the confidence with your lifestyle that you want? That's a 30-pound less version of you.
Yep.
And when people start getting into realizing that's what they actually want, but they told themselves it's 30 pounds that they want to lose, and that's how they're going to get there. Like, oh shit, yeah, it's actually the feeling and the lifestyle that I want. For me, for example, before I started getting into competition and before I started getting into eating as I don't say astringent, that's the word I'm looking for, as possible, I thought I had this vision of I wanted to be 150 pounds and this is what I'm going to look like. And I was so obsessed with that by the time I started getting into prep and I started getting less than 150 pounds, but then still acquiring the look and then the physique that I was aiming for, I'm like, oh shit, it was never about the weight.
Yep.
It was about getting control of the lifestyle so that I can adjust and I know where I need to go from. And I feel like
exactly
that's where a lot of people are getting lost in it. They're so obsessed with what they see in the mirror, what they see on the scale, but they're not, what you emphasize more than anything is they're not looking inside of what the hell they really want and how they're really feeling.
Exactly.
For you, when did that happen for you? Like, when I feel like a lot of people go into fitness and they're not making it about the internal feeling. They always think it's the external first.
Yeah.
For you, was it like that, or how did that go with regards to when did the journey part become the emphasis for you? And not with everything else that fitness pushes.
I think, like I said, man. So I'd say I was lucky enough to the guy, and I don't even want to call him a mentor because all he was a football coach to me, right? He was a football coach and he was a strength and conditioning coach, and he was the person who, like, made me realize that just working out was more than working out, right? So I feel like I was blessed and lucky enough to get that in high school for 5 years, right? And because they start you off 8th grade, actually, the school I went to, they start you off like 8th grade. If you're going into freshman, they start you off 8th grade if like you have a lot of 8th grade summer, right? And we used to wake up at 6 a.m. before school and have football lifts. And his name was Coach McKenna, and he was that person that kind of instilled that through me. So I know, like, I would say some people have like that switch or that life-changing thing. Like, as soon as I got in that room and like I could push people, I could help the person next to me, I could motivate people. Like, I could not give up when we were doing 100 push-ups. Like, as soon as he was like, no, who's going to give up today? Like, yeah, let's, like, that switch turned on from that like 8th grade summer, 9th grade year all the way through. And I've just like never lost it because I just realized like I could have been in the streets. You know what I mean? Like, I could have been doing this. I could have been doing that. And I didn't realize that at the time, but he was changing my thoughts, my mindset, and my life essentially through fitness. Right. So I was like, I want to, and I tell people, you was thinking, I want to be this guy. That's what I said. I want to be this guy. And we worked out, was like, mind you, we were at a high school, bro. We had NFL players that would come there. We had, NFL recruits. We had like firefighters. We had police. We had everybody who would come work out with these little high school kids. And we'd be running sprints with the NFL players and recruits and stuff like that. They're over there throwing up. And I'm like, yeah, I guess I'm as strong as a high schooler. Like, this NFL recruit is over there throwing up and stuff. But the thing is that he put everybody on the same level. And it was like, all you're going to do is work. You're here to work, and you're going to work, and you're going to give 100%. You throw up, you go throw up, you keep coming, and you go finish it out. Like, and it's like, that's what you're here to do. You didn't even want to miss lift. Like, you didn't want to miss lift. My mom would make me call the coach in the morning, 6 a.m. Like, hey, coach, I can't. Wow. Right? Serious. Like, you didn't even want to do that. He was like a drill sergeant, and he wasn't even like really mean. He was just real. And then that's where it was. And it was just like, like, why couldn't you miss it? All right, well, you maybe have a place on this team, maybe you don't, but stop missing lift. Like, just right. And he was just so intimidating and so real with you that you never wanted to miss that. So for me, it's like, that's how I am, like I'm like, okay, once I'm on, and this is the goal, this is the path, and that's where we're going. But it was like, so I'd say, like, to run back to that, I was fortunate enough to understand that from like 8th, 9th grade summer. And I ran with it, man. I knew that you could change people's lives through fitness. Like, these people that I was talking about, like NFL players and stuff, Thanksgiving, they were coming with platters to him. And like I said, in the weight room, the high school gym, you got people on TV bringing him platters with their family, taking pictures with him. And I'm like, why do all these people want to take pictures with Coach? Like, I don't understand this. But it was because he was changing lives and how grateful these people were. And that's where I'm like, I got it. Like, I figured it out. He would have pictures of like all these athletes and or like I said, firefighters, priests, everybody. And I'm just like, this is crazy. And like, all he's doing is working them out. Simple. It's simple, right? Just working them out, helping them change their life. But in return, that's changing lives. Like, you're literally changing people's lives. I don't care if it's for a year. I don't care if it's for, 2-3 years, like whatever it may be. If it can be 30 days, 90 days, whatever. It's like, you're literally changing people's lives. So you're impacting somebody's life, So I was like, this is what I want to do, and I literally just never stopped from there. I always tell people, and even when I talk to people, I'm like, listen, if you're doing this for the money, get out of it, because the money's going to come and go, right? There's going to be times where you're dead broke. There's going to be times where you got a lot of money. There's going to be times where you're glorified. There's going to be times where people talk shit. But if you understand, like, the purpose of what you're doing, you won't stop. You might get discouraged a couple times, but you literally won't stop, and you'll just run that path. So it's just like, do it for the right reasons, and you'll be good. And I knew what the reason was, and I never stopped. Like, I don't let money stop. I don't let, different things, situations that might happen. Like, I just pick it up, and you're just like, help another person, grab another arm, lock in with some more people, go. I can go by myself, but there's no fun at the top by myself. There's no fun there. Yeah. So everybody.
Yeah. I appreciate that, man. There's definitely a lot to be said about the influence that men have on each other with regards to leadership, culture, and just the overall journey. Because you emphasize something that I attribute a lot of my lifting and working out healthy lifestyles attributed to, which is my high school football program, the coaches that they had. Because I visited them, so full circle. So recently, my daughters, both of my daughters are in high school. They actually happen to be in the same league as my alma mater high school.
Oh,
and
okay.
when I went to go, they went to go play my alma mater's homecoming. I went back there, and a lot of the coaches that I have from almost 20 years ago are still there. Wow. And it's crazy for me to go back. And, I did 13 years in the Navy. I've done a couple of things as an adult, and then going back there and then seeing the same culture that they imply. Like, the coaches remember me, they gave me a big hug, and I was like, I was at tears because these guys shaped my life and the way it is. And I see how much of an impact that it has.
Yep.
And seeing the positive influence, seeing that, and as such a big installation of just culture for me, for a lot of the teammates that I've had. And I love that you speak of it because that's the position that you're in. You're changing people's lives. You're inspiring people's mindsets, entire journeys. And that's a huge responsibility in and of itself. I want to emphasize here one thing, because you presented one of the more cultural contrasts that we're experiencing today, which is the value and the overall characterization of just hard work and absolute results, A and B. Like, hey, either you push this or you're going to get it or you don't.
Yeah.
Because I feel like a lot of today's culture is like, oh, that's too hard of coaching. Why don't you be a little bit more lenient, a lot of the softer.
Yeah.
Working with you so far, that's one of the things that has honestly drew me to you. Because one of the first times I remember you sent me a plan, and you're like, what's your percentage? I'm like 60 something. You're like, what? No. You said you wanted to win. What the hell are you doing? For you, when you coach with that demeanor, that energy, that, hey, results driven, does that come with any kind of, adversity? Does that come with a little bit of personalities clashing? Like, what's been your experience with your coaching style and clients that you've worked with?
I think a little bit of both. I think I don't want to say backlash, but I do. Is there people that can't handle it? Yeah. So I have to, everybody's different. So I got to learn the person. I got to learn how I can talk to them as well as still be myself, because if I can't be myself, then this whole thing it's a relationship. So it's like, if I can't be myself, then we're literally faking this shit. Like, I can't fake and like baby you all the time. Like, that's not cool. So, but as a coach, and like I said, even though this is a business, people are scared. And I used to be this person. I used to really be this person. They're scared to miss out on the money as well, because, money pays bills. Like, we got bills to pay, right? So it's like, so they lose sight of who they are and how they can talk to people or how they, whatever. So it's like, I have to be real, and I have to tell people what it is, because like, what's that saying? Like, fake the funk? Like, literally, people will literally just fake their way through it. And the thing is, when I go to a show, I want to be on there. I want to be proud of my athlete. I want to be proud of what we did. And you ask anybody on the team, like, I be crying when people, win and all this crazy stuff. You have to be straight real with yourself. And it's like, I get very passionate about what I'm doing. And if you're not on the same level as me, it's kind of like a waste of my time. And it's also like, I've had people, and trust me, this has happened more times than I can count. They don't get the placement they like. They get really discouraged after they walk off the stage. And then you start to realize that they were fucking up. They were messing up. They were like shorting themselves. They were not hitting all their cardio. They were not doing all these things. And it's like, well, why are you mad? Like everybody has bad days. Like, everybody has bad days. You're gonna miss a couple cardio sessions. You're gonna miss some meals. I don't expect people to be perfectionists. I just expect people to control what they can control. Like, you're gonna have a day where I only could eat 2 meals. Okay, but that doesn't mean you have a bad day the next day and the next day like. So it's just like, I'll tell people, like, either why did you compete or why are you mad? Because you have to be realistic with yourself. And I'm going to be realistic with you. And I just had two people I had to pull out a show, and I was just realistic with them. Like, listen, back in the day, I would have probably let you step on stage. But now my expectation is different. and you came to me because you saw what I give. Like you came to me, like even you saw results that I give, you saw whatever, and it's like, I don't want to let you down. I can't let myself down. I can't be fake. I shouldn't be fake to you. So it's like, we literally have to be our best on that stage, on that day or whatever. And if that's having a hard conversation, like, yo, Alan, we're just not ready, bro. And it's just like, can we do the next show? Oh, you're not willing to? Cool. Well, I don't know what to tell you, man. You can go on stage and like, look like you look like, and which that's fine. But like, will you be happy? Like, will you? You know what I mean? If not, I mean, it is what it is. Like, I'll support you, but like, are you really going to be happy? Do you feel like you like gave your best effort? No? Then why the fuck are you doing it? You know what I mean? Why don't you wait 6 weeks and dedicate that effort? After we had this conversation, wait that 6 weeks and dedicate yourself and see what your body actually can do. Everybody wants to short it, but they don't know what your actual, like, you actually lock in and dedicate yourself and you commit to yourself. Success is right there, bro. Everybody gets this close to success and then they turn around. You know what I mean? Everybody, nobody steps over the line.
God, working with you so far, one of the quotes that still stick out to me is, "You feel good until you feel great."
That's it.
And I gotta tell you, man, working with you so far has definitely had me swallow my ego on a lot of certain things, especially with the coaching style that you have. And although there are times where I'm like, man, F David, I don't want to fucking talk to this guy. But I know that it's good for me. And I, because you emphasize something that I see all the time, which people complain about the results that they didn't work for. And so many people like, why didn't I do this? Why didn't I do that? It's because you're focusing on the wrong things. You put yourself on an expectation and not realizing that it was never about the expectation, but what you thought you were going to get out of that expectation. And that just drills back into what we emphasized at the very beginning, which is it's a reflection of you and your relationship with yourself, as well as your relationship with what you project out into the world. Because if you literally are complaining about a result that you didn't work for, there's a distortion in how you're approaching your day to day that you need to work on and reflect on. But, oh my God, there's, stepping into this space of health and emotional and mental health, I think what we fail to realize is a lot of the status of our mental and emotional health with ourselves is actually displayed with how we treat our physical self.
Yes.
And so, when I see people that are like, oh, I can't, and I know I'm pretty sure you get this. How do I lose fat? How do I lose weight? And then you kind of give them like a basic, thing. I've experienced a lot of people like, well, I can't do this. I can't do that. Well, it's like, well, you say you want this result, but the way that you're showing up is actually showing that you don't want that result. And it's like, you actually, instead of trying to go after the result, you should probably take the time to figure out what it is about that result you want and what is it that you keep telling yourself you can't. And dude, that's another thing. Another thing I really want to emphasize here is just that a lot of people just want the result without working for it. I know this is a very loaded question, Coach, but where do you think some of that comes from? That entitlement that I should be getting this even though I don't work for it.
I think really just like you said earlier, like kind of promoting the quick fix in our life of just, especially in the days of social media. I mean, everything's a quick fix, man. Like, how to clean your shoe the right way, quick and easy. How to pop out a dent. How to do this, how to do that. And I think everybody feels entitled. I feel like, social media shows you everybody can be a millionaire. Everybody can do this, everybody can do that. And it thinks that it takes away from, if everybody can do it, then it's not hard. Right. So it's it takes away from the hard work that you actually have to put in to do these things. So, like I said, like if everybody could do it, it's just not hard. So it's just, everybody wants it quick and easy. And it's really not. It's not quick and easy. And if you can, now there is things that you can obtain quick and easy, but you have to go balls to the wall. And if you can't and you don't have that, why would you expect it? Like, and you have to keep the same momentum over and over and over, balls to the wall, like every day, like savage mode. And it's like, if you don't have that, and a lot of people don't have that, 90% of people don't have that, you know, and it's like, and if you don't have that, you can't expect to get the same results that somebody else did, you know, and it's, and, you know, and it's hard. Like, it really is, it is hard to tell that to somebody. And it is hard to, like I said, have the conversation with people and let them know they don't have it. But it's like, it's something that needs to be done, because my coach used to say this one thing. He said, the world's full of pussified people. Don't be one of them. But he was just like, literally, you think that things are just going to come to you. And he was like, that's not how things work. You know, it's like, you have to, now opportunity does knock on the door sometimes. Opportunity does fall into our lap, but it's still like, you have to get the opportunity and you still have to work hard to get to wherever, you know, it may be. So, but everybody they really just feel entitled to things. And I think social media, and I think makes you like that. Like I said, everybody can do it. And it's just not how things go, you know? And like I said, like I lose people from it by telling them what it is. I lose people from doing the right way. But then I also get great people that are like, no, I like the way you're telling me. Like, tell me what it is. And I tell people from the jump. Now I have a lot more confidence in my coaching. So like, when I get on the phone and I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to sugarcoat shit. So, you know, I literally said that. I'm just like, hey, like, I'm not going to be that person. So down the road in 4 months, if you want me to sugarcoat it because you feel some type of way now, that's not my fault. I straight up told you that's not what I'm going to do, you know? And this is what you signed up for. Like, you signed up to do this. And you know, another problem is people don't know how to commit to themselves, right? So we have all these people. Okay. We have all these people in this world that want to talk about relationships, marriages, boyfriends, friendships, blah, 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 blah. But we can't even commit to ourselves. You want other people to commit to you, but you can't commit to yourself. That's the most important person. Right? That's the most important person. You know what I mean? And I know there's a time and a place, but be real with your time and a place, or just be real with what's going on. Like, I have a coach that I pay a pretty hefty sum to, and I committed. I literally committed. And I told myself, hey, I want to turn like IFBB Pro, blah, 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 blah. And over the past like bunch of months, I straight up tell him, like, I send my check in and I'll be like, yeah, coach, you know, I just ain't ready. I'm still not on plan. Like, I had a couple wins, you know, I was drinking this weekend. I'm a drink, like, cool, I'll let you know when I'm ready. But I still check in and I let him know that, because I have to be 100% with him. There's no point, like, I'm like we're talking about, I'm not going to act like I should be getting the results, because it's wasting his time and it's wasting my time and my money. And I don't pause my contract. I literally still check in and I tell him exactly what it is. But when I start and when I commit, and that's why I haven't really committed yet. I'm like, I got these shows over here. I'm going to be traveling right here, blah, 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 blah. But when I commit, it's game over, because I know what's going to happen. I know the mindset that's going to happen. I know that switch that's going to turn. And people don't know how to turn that switch off. They don't know how to say no to everybody else. They don't know how to say no to John's birthday. They don't know how to say, you know, no to the wedding. They don't, like, you can still do these things, but you don't have to do what everybody else is doing, because not everybody else has your goals. Guess what? If they're doing something, they're not going to downplay themselves for you. So, you know what I mean? Don't downplay yourself. There's always a birthday. There's always a celebration. There's always a quick fix. There's always, you know, somebody got a raise. There's always something. You don't have to celebrate everything. Yeah, or you can go and not eat and drink. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
right. I feel like one of the tougher challenges with transformations and with transferring your entire lifestyle is the culture that we live in America, because there's, like you're saying, there's always some kind of a party. Yep. Drinking is as normalized as it effing gets. Yep. Processed foods are just everywhere, no matter the hell what. Yep. And it's really challenging. If you want to fully make this lifestyle change, it comes with a big box of failures. And I feel like people need to emphasize that. So anytime people get on this fitness thing, you're emphasizing it right now, let go of that expectation, hone in on that journey, because your ego is going to get kicked 8,000 million times over, and you just kind of have to get used to getting your ego kicked. Yep. But if you want it bad enough, it doesn't matter about your ego anymore. Nope. You know, I had a podcast recently with a guy who's a musician, and he talks about, you know, pursue something that you're passionate about. And as soon as your ego gets conflicted and as soon as it gets hit and you have this choice of doing it, pursuing it, like that's how you know if you really love it or not, is when your ego gets challenged, do you still pursue it because you don't give a fuck, or do you allow that to consume you and like, I'm going to cower it away and not do this?
Yeah.
One of the things that you talked about, what I love, which I feel like coaches should look into more, is what am I good at coaching? How do I show up for my clients the 100% possible way? And what do I need from my clients to show up so that I can be 100% my authentic self in showing up?
Of course.
And so I love the fact that you were like, hey, if this is what you want and this is how you're going to show up and this is how you want me to show up, I'm not going to be effective for you because this isn't who I am and that's not how I show up.
Exactly.
In your experience so far, Coach, what are some qualities of a good coach that enable clients to be like, hey, you know what? Yeah, I do need to change this. Hey, I do need to, hey, what he's saying is right. So what are the things about you that you felt has always led for you to be an effective, successful coach?
One is realistic goals. When I get on a call with somebody, I say, hey, like, you know, it's a consultation. I say, I have a question for you. And I was like, I want you to think about it and I want you to answer it. You know, I want you to answer it truthfully. I said, do you want to compete or do you want to be competitive? And somebody says, they're like, well, what do you mean? I say, before usually people think and they're like, I'm like, let me explain the two people. I said, somebody who wants to compete might have lost 100 pounds, just wants to stand on there, feel amazing. Oh, I'm half naked with a bikini, girl. I feel amazing. Like, this is the best day of my life. I never thought I could have did it. You know, regardless of what I look like, I am proud, right? Somebody who wants to be competitive is like, I want to win. If I get second, I'm going to be angry. Or if I get top 3 for my first show, that's cool, but I eventually want to get my pro card. And then I eventually want to be competitive at the pro level. And I want to look like I belong up there. I want to look like I'm super competitive. Like, that's a competitive person. And I say the difference is how I treat you and what my expectation is, right? So it's like, if you want to compete, you're going to have some slight fuck ups. And I'm like, oh, it's okay. It's okay, Joan. Don't worry. Just get back to it, girl. You got this. You want to be competitive. I'm like, bro, there's no time for fuck ups. I don't know why you keep thinking that you're going to get to this place, but we need to get harder and we need to work on harder. So you need to realize what's in front of you, or we need to push this show back. So there's so it's like being realistic, because some people just want to compete and they think they want to be competitive because they make moves like they just want to, they make moves like they want to compete. But then when they get on stage, they're like, oh, why wasn't I competitive? Because you're not acting like that. That's not, so we have to have realistic goals. And I won't treat the person like differently, but my expectation of how you move doesn't become a conflict of how I coach you, right? So it's like, if you're like, yo, coach, like, oh man, you know, I messed up like all weekend I was doing this, I was drinking this, I was eating this, I was doing this, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, yo, like I said, somebody who just wants to compete, get back on it, you know, don't worry about it, blah, blah, blah. Somebody who's being competitive, I'm like, okay, we need to figure this shit out. Like, what's going on? How can we get better about it? Like, it's just the expectation. Both of them I love equally, right? It's just, how do I have to love you? How do I have to love you? How do I have to communicate with you? Because I need to know. Because the person who just wants to compete is proud. I can't shatter them because I'm angry and like, nah, you shouldn't be fucking up. I can't do that. I have to still love this person, right? But the person, if I'm super like light on the person who wants to be competitive, then I'm bringing down the standard. So I can't take down their standard and I can't crush this person's ego. So it's like, how do I communicate with them? So we have to have realistic goals so we can communicate effectively, if that makes sense. So
100% it makes sense. Yeah.
So that's one thing. Realistic, and then obviously, like I said, communication with that. It's just, you know, having good communication, being upfront. Like I said, first thing I said when I got on here, I meet people right off the jump. When I actually meet them and I start realizing, they start kind of like telling on themselves. Like, oh yeah, well, I do this on low day to get me through the low day. Like I had one dude, love him to death. And he was like, on his low day, he was like, yeah, man, like I had to get through these 80 minutes of cardio. So I would have a Red Bull and I would have a banana and an apple. And I'm like, in the moment, I was like, oh, haha. Like, then I went home. I looked on his plan. I'm like, he don't have a banana and an apple and a Red Bull on his plan.
Let alone a Red Bull.
I'm just like, so then like the next day I saw him and I was just like, yo, what did you mean by that? And he was like, well, I figured if you needed me to burn 600 calories on my low day, well, because I was on my low day, I didn't have enough energy. So I ate the banana, the apple, and the Red Bull to get me through the 600 calories. And I'm like, I want to stop you right there. If you're on a low day and I want you to burn all these calories, that's for us to tap into the fat, right? But if you're on the low day and you add 600 calories, you just made us burn 600 calories. So you might as well have just not did the cardio. Like, that's the point of the low calories and the high cardio. So, and I'm just like, that's bad communication. Like, so you've been doing all this. I've been busting my ass trying to figure out, maybe we had a standstill. Maybe, we had a bad week and I'm like, all right, we gotta change the plan, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, no, we didn't have to change the plan. You just had to communicate better. You're doing things that I don't know. Like, you're doing things that I don't know about. This isn't like, I'm not here to judge you. Literally just tell me what's going on so we can make moves together. You know what I mean? If meal 5 isn't working and you're not eating it for 4 weeks, like, when I start adding things and changing things, it's all going to be off because now you've been lying about me for meal 5. So now you got to figure out when I add, changes to meal 4 and meal 3, like you're like, oh, well, okay, I'm going to not take out meal 5. Like, you're going to start coaching yourself. And that's the bad thing, So communication's like super big with that. Understanding like lingo, how they talk, the vibe, making sure that person is somebody like you understand, when you're talking to them. Are they talking at you or are they explaining things? I always say ask to understand, not to question. So if somebody's like, hey coach, wanted to know why we have the peanut butter in meal 4. Well, Alan, you're working out around meal 2 and meal 3. So I didn't want to put fats around there. So the carbs are digesting faster for your pre and your post workout. So I figured we could go meal 1 and meal 3 or meal 4, or we can go meal 1, meal 4, and meal 5 is where we would probably put the fats. Oh, okay. Because I haven't done it for 2 days, but now that you said that, okay, that's where I'll put it. I started doing it for meal 2 because that's where I thought it felt better. Well, I'm glad you asked that question, right? So it's like, ask to understand, not to question. Ask to understand something. And if I can't give you the answer to why we do it, and I say, just because that's what we want to do, that's not a good coach. We shouldn't be doing it. If I can't explain to you why something is the way it is, we shouldn't be doing it.
Let me emphasize this as well, because not everybody that's listening is exactly a coach, and they might be potential clients. There's also something to be said as a client where when you're going to a coach that you've decided to work with and he kind of starts giving you advice, if your mindset is to question everything that he's doing instead of like you're saying, instead of question the knowledge, just question the question.
Yeah.
You got to work within yourself. Like, I can't tell you how many clients that I've worked with where I'm like, yo, just do this. Like, why do I do this? Or I've had consultations where all clients wanted me to do is be an echo chamber for things that they just decided to research on the internet. When I tell them that's wrong, it's like, no, but this is what I heard. I'm like, bro, you said you want these results. You asked me for it. Your ego keeps on getting in the way. So that's huge.
And I had a friend. Hold on. I had a friend who said he used to say something. He used to say, "You come to me for a problem. If you don't like my solution, keep your problem."
Ooh.
He was like, "You bring a problem to me." He was like, "And I have a solution. Here's my solution. If you don't like my solution, then keep your problem." And he was like, and that's how people just want to literally be like, oh yeah, well, I used to do this. And I'm like, that's crazy. What you used to do got you here. So, like, you know what I mean? So now you're here. So why don't you let me drive the car, because you drove the car to me and I'm going to drive the car now, and it's just real. It's like, you didn't come to me because you didn't see the result. Like, you came to me because you saw the results that I'm getting. You came to me because the way I put the team up or the way the atmosphere, you came to me for a reason. So literally trust me on the reason and let me do the work. That's it.
Man, yeah. That I could, one of the things I always emphasize to people because, all right, so for example, now that I'm in prep, I'm eating a crap ton of carbs because the emphasis is to make my workout to be of the best performance.
Yep.
But people are so obsessed with thinking that carbs are terrible for you that when I, like for example, because we have Rice Krispie treats in my meal plan when I'm working out, and I love it because every time I go to the gym, like maybe my second or third workout, I pull out this ginormous blue Rice Krispie treat, snap, crackle, and pop, and just eating it in front of everybody. And it's funny because you'll get people that are a little bit bigger than me that are just kind of looking at me just with envy, like, oh, this guy gets to eat Rice Krispie treats, and it's because what you've been programmed is wrong. And what I always emphasize, 70% of the population is either overweight or obese, but yet we have more monikers than ever about gluten-free, keto this, no carb that, all these other things. And again, these are all great temporary patches, but people are applying them into entire lifestyles and not understanding that they're just selling points for these Instagram ads and everything else. And why I'm bringing this up is because quite regularly, I always get that whole like, well, you eat a bunch of carbs, dude, but this, I'm like, dude, relearn the process. Go what you've been programmed to do, and what everybody has been programmed to do is wrong. And it's not until you start getting into competing, it's not until you start getting into 4 meals a day, this amount of protein, carbs, fat, that you start realizing, holy shit, this is how we should have been eating this entire time. This is how we should be training this entire time. But everybody else is programmed incorrectly. So I want to add this into it real quickly, and this is kind of the last question before we start wrapping this up. For any client, let's say that we're just a regular person on the couch, not really, maybe kind of fitness here and there. If they were to come to you and say, hey, coach, I want to get to competing, right? What are some of the bigger phases and steps, and maybe some of the obstacles that's going to kind of come along with someone that's doing fitness here and there, watching what they eat, to being competition?
Wait, you said what is the different phases?
Yeah, like what is like the big outlook? Like, let's say I'm in a consultation with you. Hey, coach, I saw Alan K on there. I still saw his results. I want to get something similar to that, but I'm way back here in the fitness thing. What do you perceive as like the journey and maybe some of the obstacles that I'm going to be going through during that process?
So one of the biggest things, it's a life change. So one thing I actually do like to tell people is, what is your support around you? Because since you are changing your life, other people around you lives are going to have to change because your life is changing, right? So it's like, do you have the support at home? Can you go cold turkey not eating your pizza every Friday? Like, can you do it? Can you not eat with your children, for dinner? That's important to some people. It's like, you can still eat at the same time as them, but you can't eat what they're eating, so it's like, can you do these things? And it's definitely a change in life. It's a change in mindset. You're going from being on the couch to I want to compete. And honestly, those people, some of them are very successful because they have no expectation, right? But the fitness person has an expectation because they've already been working out. So sometimes those people are good because they have no expectation. They don't really work out. They just know, I'm working out, I'm eating good, I'm getting great results. Fitness person has all these expectations that they already have. Like, I already work out, I already do this, and I already do that. So that's it with that. But there, definitely a mindset change, a shift in behavior just around everybody, whether it's meal prepping, bringing foods around, whether it's, time, time is like your time is going to be different. You can't just go here and go there. Like, no, you have to go get this done, and you have to go get this done before you get this done. So those phases, and then you understand like your emotions. People get emotional because they are pushing their body to the limits. Like some people just don't know how to push they never get uncomfortable with their body. So, you know, I tell them to do 10 minutes, they do 8 minutes because that's what felt comfortable. You know, so I tell them to go to a failure and they go to here and they stop. When failure is there.
Yeah.
You know, so people stop here because it's easy, you know, and people don't want to get uncomfortable, you know, and so they have to. It's going to get emotional because their body's going to get uncomfortable and their body's going to go in overdrive. Biggest thing I have usually in my first session, I always tell people I used to do this thing. I would start everybody up with the same basic things. And I would say, okay, you ready for your first session? Cool. I said, we're going to start out with 25 jumping jacks, 25 high knees, 25 butt kicks, 25 squats. Let's go. People go. Boom, boom, boom. Can I go to the bathroom? And they go throw up. And I'll say, you know what happened? And they'll be like, yeah, like I'm just out of shape. And I'm like, it's not even that. It's you tried to go balls to the walls out the gate. You're not impressing me. Like, take your time, right? But your body went in overdrive. Right now, even for what you do, if I were on your side of the table and I was trying to make this podcast, and stuff started not working, and just like we had technical difficulties, I would be in panic, like, shoot, I don't know what to do. Just how my mind and my, anxiety might go in overdrive, your body's doing something that it's not used to doing. At a high intensity rate or whatever it may be, your body's going to do what? React. Your body's going to shut down, which is where cramping, throwing up, passing out, like you're doing something that your body's not used to doing. So people have to understand that, your emotions and, shutting down, whatever, these things happen. So people have to get used to it, but it's regular, right? So I tell people, how many people come back after that? Psh. I'm like, listen, and I try to have that conversation with them, like, your body's just not used to this. Make sure you come tomorrow. And then I don't hear from them for 2 weeks. Like, oh, had to take those 3 weeks. I was hurting for 5 weeks, coach. Like, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, yeah, because you did something irregular. Now make it regular and you'll be fine. Right. So it's just like, people have to be used to that too, because they're coming from a different place. Like I'm coming from doing nothing to being here. So your body's going to go in overdrive. But if you can weather that and understand, on the end of that is success, right? And on the end of that is jumping the hurdle over and over again, you'll be good. It's just but then, like I said, that's where the mindset comes in, right? Because the body's going to do this. But like they say, the mind is stronger than the body, right? It's just you just have to keep going. So if the mind is right, the body will start to catch up to it. So, just changes like that.
Yeah, amen to that. When you talk about how the mind is right and it keeps that momentum, I'm a huge reader. I love reading. Well, I love listener, audiobooks. I don't have the patience to read there anymore. I don't. But one of the books I love listening to is a book of Atomic Habits, or The Power of Atomic Habits. Okay. And one of the things that emphasizes is just one small habit at a time, one everything. That's it. And for me, last year, all right, so I started competing last year. Right. And that's when I started going from, I'm the exact what you just said. I'm that person who kind of lifted a little bit before. Yeah. I'm like, well, I don't need to listen to this freaking stupid plans. Yeah. And then I remember the mindset was like, wait, I'm not going to meal prep and go to a restaurant. I'm not going to bring my lunch pill out in public. That's whatever the heck, but you got to step into that process. You have to step into it and start being like, hey, I'm uncomfortable in this. But if I really want to get to my goal, being uncomfortable in this is going to be part of the process. And I need to do it to the point where it's not uncomfortable anymore if I really want to get to where I want to be. Exactly. And I feel like that journey constantly pushes you oh, wait, I don't want to be eating carbs right now, but you should be. Yep. Oh, I don't want to be doing this. I don't want to be, but it's I don't want to lift this right now, but you do. Yep. And, if I went from last year, not meal prepping, not bringing any, I could care less about my water intake. I'm just going to get up on stage. Yep. And now a year of getting through those challenges, seeing if I just overcome my ego, seeing the results. Now it's a year later. It's you see it. If you just let go of it. Just constantly allow yourself to evolve with the process. And trust me, Coach, me working with you now and how close I am with the plan now is not something I'd been doing a year ago. I've been like, man, F this guy is way too strict.
Yeah.
But you just got to get yourself in the process and swallow your ego every single time that happens.
And it's like, we really can be, like I said, like the good and the great thing. It's like, you feel good right now, bro. Just wait till 8 weeks, right? When you're like, damn, like you might feel like shit, but you might be like, I feel great. Like I look at my body and I'm like, I look better than I looked on stage. Like, and it's like, everybody wants to just feel good. Like I'm fine. I'm good. Like everybody wants to feel good. So they don't take themselves out of the comfort in order to get to greatness. But it's like, what would great really feel like? Like, and how accomplished would you really feel if you were great? How accomplished would you really feel? Like, and so that can change so many different things. It could change your confidence. It could change your self-esteem. It could change your image. It could change your mindset. It could change your life. It could change the way you look at people. It could change everything around you if you felt great about yourself. But people are so scared to get there. They want to do what they want to do. They want to do what they want to do, and they just say, oh, well, I don't have time, or I don't have this, I don't have that. It's just like, no, you just don't want to commit to yourself. Actually stick to something. Let's call it what it is. Let's not sugarcoat the shit. You know what I mean? You just want to do what you want to do. You act like you want to be a competitor, but you really just want to stick to your thing. You act like you want to lose 30 pounds, but you rather just stay 30 pounds overweight. Like, just be real with yourself, you know? But you have to be real with yourself because you can't waste other people's time doing it. So it's like, reach out to a coach, reach out to somebody, but understand they can't want it more than you do. I have people that I check in with, straight up, haven't heard from you in a while, blah, 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 like, what's going on? And there's going to be only a point where I'm going to do that a few times. After that, I'm either going to say, hey, haven't heard from you. You should probably just cancel your contract. So, and I either do that or I'm just going to stop hitting you up. And you know what's going to happen? 3 months later, you're going to hit me up and you're going to be like, hey, coach, I'm still getting $300 taken out of my account. I haven't talked to you in 4 months. And I'm like, that's crazy because I reached out to you a bunch of times and now you didn't reach out to me back. And now that you saw that your money still comes out, it's a priority to you. So the money was important, but your health wasn't important over the last few months. So, you know, that's not my fault that you forgot to cancel your contract. Like, your credit card doesn't call you like, hey, you know, you didn't do this. No, like the credit card doesn't just stop charging you. Like, you know, these other bills don't, hey, you didn't use your cell phone Monday, so I'm going to take a day off. No, like that's not how things works. So, you know, so it's like, I'm here to help, and it's like not through. It's a ongoing thing, and it's like this is something you have to actually do, you know. And people, it's hard. It's hard for them to understand it. They just want to do what they want to do. They want to make excuses. Like if you literally are just like, Alan, you text me and like, Coach, I got a crazy 3 weeks. I'm not gonna be able to check in. I'm not gonna be able to do this. You know, we're right back on it on the third week. I'm like, cool, no problem. Enjoy. Totally understandable. Appreciate the communication. That easy. But instead, people won't hit me up for 3 weeks and be like, my bad, coach, you know what I mean? I totally just been off. And I'm like, well, I would understand if you were off if we just had a conversation about it. Like, I don't judge you, you know? We all just have times that we get busy, and that's cool. But if you're going to hit me up 2 months later and then be like, yo, why did I get charged for that 3 weeks? I haven't talked to you. That's not my problem. Right. You know, so, you know, that's just, we want to do what we want to do, and then we want to do it when it's convenient. You know, when it's convenient for you to be a competitor, you want to sign up, you want to pay your money. When you have 1 month that is not convenient for you, you don't want that charge to come out because you didn't dedicate yourself. You don't want to check in with coach. It's about the inconvenience and the being uncomfortable. That's where greatness is, but nobody wants to get into greatness because nobody wants to be uncomfortable. Everyone wants to do what they want to do.
Yeah. And there's a lot to be said about the pursuit of that greatness abstained of like your comfort zone. Yep. You know, one of the books, I'm going to keep on talking about books here. One of the books I love right now that I'm reading is Winning by Tim Groves, who is the trainer of Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant.
Yep.
And he regularly talks about if you want to be great, if you want to be immortalized effectively, you have to do things in order for you to get the results that you really want, you have to do things that other people don't do.
Yep.
And that is just, it says so much. And what I have seen is in the pursuit of something that you don't think is possible for you, like a first place in a physique competition, just the pursuit of it, the sacrifices, it just shows up in other areas of your life because you're literally showing people, hey, this is how I value myself. This is the standard that I hold myself to. And this is what I'm chasing. And it's just crazy on how that intrinsic energy gets felt throughout with everybody that you interact with, just based off of that, and inspires other people. So I really, really appreciate that about you, Coach.
And the thing is, just, hold on, give me 1 second, just to go off on that. Like, if you truly don't believe that you can get that first place or that you can get on that stage, you're already lost, right? And you're already lost. You've already lost in that pursuit, but that probably means you're already losing in other ways of your life. And that's where, like you literally just said it, and that's where like it clicked. And it's like you said, if you have to be willing to do things that other people won't do, and it's like, if you're not willing to do them, then the journey is wasted, right? Because you can half-ass do it, but then expect the half-ass results, right? So you can't expect to get the Kobe Bryant results, but you're not giving the effort. You can't expect to get the Michael Jordan results because you're not giving the effort. But it's like, look up, okay, what did Michael do to get great? I'm going to do 10 times that, right? Or I'm going to do that, or I'm going to do more than that, right? Because it can never be just what it is. It has to be above what greatness is. You need to be up here. So it's like, if you already like, and I'll tell you this, like, do you envision yourself? You're probably right now, your expectation straight up, all right, Alan? I'm going to say, you want to get up there. You want to look better than you did last year. You kind of want to win. You're like, yo, that would be cool to win. I would win my physique show. But I don't know if I can really, really picture myself holding that trophy. I don't know if I could really picture myself in that winner's circle. But I know that it would be really cool to win this physique show. I'd be really cool. I could talk about it. I could feel good. All this, and it could change some things about me. It could change some confidence. It could change some people around me. It could change some conversation around me. But can I really envision myself? Can you really envision yourself in there?
Absolutely.
Good.
Absolutely.
So now,
that's our first conversation, right?
Exactly. So now, when I said to you that one day, that's the expectation I'm expecting, because that is what you envision. Now, I'm going to be there every step of the way. And I straight up, as a coach, I'm going to envision it more and more and more. In the beginning, it's like, let me just see if this person can stick to a diet. And then it's like, exactly, let me see if this person checks in on time. Let me see if this person can stay consistent. Let's see, even when the holiday comes, even when, a loved one passes, even when the bad and the hard times come, are they still going to be consistent? Are they going to still be committed to themselves, right? Because I'm here. You know what I mean? Whether I hit check in, I'm here. Like, send that, always communicate, do all that. So it's the question is like, if that person can envision it, they can make it happen, but they have to just put the effort behind it. And a lot of people just don't believe that they could do great things. They know it would sound good. It sounds good. It would be cool. Wouldn't it be cool if we invented this? Or wouldn't we be like, why can't you do it? If you literally find every excuse not to do it, you're never going to get there. So it's just like, like I said, so you kind of just hit the nail on the head. Like, you want to be great, you have to be willing to do things, but that means you have to be willing to give great effort. Like, you can't even be like, yeah, I work hard. No, you have to work the hardest out of everybody in here to be able to be great. Because if not, you'll just be good. And if not, you'll be mediocre. If not, you'll be fine.
Right. I don't think too many people want to just be just fine by the time they die and everything,
Yeah.
No, absolutely. All right, Coach. Well, hey, man, I really appreciate your time. Any contact info, Instagram?
Anybody can hit me up on Instagram, nonstop_D Milligan, or team nonstop. What is it? _team nonstop _ I think something like that.
That's one of those guys.
If not, hit that one up. Man. Man, it's definitely been a pleasure. I like this. I've done a couple of these, but I love it because you know what's crazy, and a little small shit. When I get on these, sometimes it reminds me of the passion that I have, right? So sometimes when you're working and you're just so like hard at work, sometimes you forget. I don't forget the journey. I don't forget why I do it, but you forget the actual passion that you have inside. So when you actually talk about it, it kind of like re-motivates me even as a coach or as a person or even as an athlete. Like I might get off this and be like, what are you doing? You know, I'm like, I mean, straight up, like, are you giving 100? Like, he said these great things about you. Are you giving that? He sees that, you know, but it's like, but that's, like I said, in order to get to greatness, like sometimes you gotta go back and be like, okay, what did I do? Or what am I not doing? What can I give more? What can I, do these things, stuff like that. So it's like, I like these because it re-motivates me and it influences me. Like your conversation or your ideas or your questions have brought things to me that I'm like, yeah, I like that. Like that made me think, do I think that, so stuff like that. So I really do like doing things like this because it makes me a better person as well,
Yeah, the fact that you have this mindset where every conversation you look for a way to get feedback and a way to self-reflect on something you can do better just shows why you are where you are, Coach. This is exactly how you got to 12 plus years, is that constant mindset.
That's it, man.
So I really do appreciate that. And that's why we're working together, my man. That's exactly
I'm excited,
why we're doing
man. Trust me, I'm excited. We're going to go out in Vegas and do big things.
That trophy is going to look great when we're holding on to this and everything. I'm going to be looking freaking fantastic.
I'm excited.
Let's go.
I'm excited.
Anyway.
We're going to make it happen.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, hey, thank you guys for joining us. If you guys also want more info on this, you can also hit me up, ShiftEQ.Podcast on Instagram. But for that, all right, Coach, well, thank you very much.
Man,
and for everybody else, appreciate everybody else. Deuce.
Peace.
Are you still out here for a little bit, Coach?